Hey everybody, this is Eric with Bluewater Books and Charts. This week we have a special treat for you. I was able to do a little bit of cruising up in the Chesapeake with some lovely folks. And this week we're going to take a look at how the average bridge is set up for a cruising couple.
Erik, we have a really unique opportunity this week as far as the vlog goes. We're on a beautiful 46-foot Grand Banks. We're cruising the Chesapeake. And one of the things we wanted to talk about is when you look at the setup of a bridge, whether it's a boat like this or a cargo line, cruise line, large yacht, that there's a lot of similarities in setup, but the setup is also really deemed by how the boat's going to be used. So, like for instance, this vessel is run by a couple that's doing the Great Loops. So they have this set up in a way that pretty much from this spot, you can access anything you need to when it comes to navigation, radios, engine controls, electronics, and even setting and pulling up the anchor. So it's really cool how this is set up, and most bridges are set up that way. Whether you look at a cargo line or a cruise line, it's set up for the use of that particular vessel. So if you look at a cruise line, there's a lot more electronics. You see ECDIS and a number of other things, but when you look at the watch positions, it's set up very similar in the fact that the watch stander needs to be able to access multiple things or multiple screens when they're on watch to make it more convenient so you don't have to run all over the bridge. So this is a really cool setup when you look at how the boat's used.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, so, you know, as you mentioned, this is run by a couple, and so this is actually the main bridge. Even though it looks like we're on the fly bridge, well, we are on the fly bridge here. But this is, you know, the main point where the boat is driven from. All the time, this allows the captain to have access to all the controls all at once, while the other person on the boat can handle lines or other things on the deck. Some similar things you might see on all the boats, as you mentioned. We don't have an ECDIS here, but we do have a very large, nice chart plotter, a couple of VHF radios, a couple of motor controls. Now I see two sets of levers here, Corey. Can you get into a little detail?
Sure. On this particular boat, one set of levers is set up as the throttle and the other is set up as the transmission. So when you're doing maneuvering, you bring the throttles up just enough to get engine power, and then you can maneuver by the transmission by going forward, neutral, or reverse. And you can increase throttle depending on the current and situation if you need to do that for maneuvering. So it's interesting to see in a boat like this where you have the throttle and the transmission separate.
So that's kind of distinctly different from some of the yachts or maybe cruise ships people have seen where they're little small adjustments. Like with this, you want to make sure you really push it down hard, isn't that right?
Well, when I first got to learn how to drive this boat, that was the first mistake that I made, is you have to push the levers all the way forward or all the way in reverse. And when I was in the Coast Guard, our boat, you look for the first detent and you clutch in, and the engine, you're getting power, but everything was together in one lever. So this is a really good setup, though, when it comes to what you need, because everything is right here and can be done from a navigation and an underway perspective right from this one particular seat. So Eric, we've taken a look at the bridge setup on a vessel like this. Let's dive a little bit deeper into the navigation and some of the stuff that would be available. And again, I think it's whether you're on a vessel this size, a large yacht, cargo line, cruise line.
Yeah, we tend to kind of sell a lot of the same product, maybe in different forms to different size vessels, different configurations. As you mentioned, this is a cruising vessel that's set up with a Garmin. For all these people, you're always going to want to have a paper chart backup. That's kind of step one. Cheap insurance is what we say. If all the electronics fail, this won't. We also always recommend you kind of have a cruising guide or maybe a pilot for the larger boats. This will at least tell you kind of the radio frequencies that you need to contact marinas on, how to get in and out of the ports, and just some good information if you're going somewhere you've never been.
If I can jump in, one of the interesting things I've seen is I've seen these actually on cargo lines and cruise lines as well, because they'll go into some of the same places where they want to get a little bit more local knowledge that these books provide.
Absolutely, and they're updated every year, so you can be assured that what you're reading is fairly recent, fairly accurate. Whereas some of the charts and stuff aren't always updated. Maybe they'll make a correction here and there. But a lot of these cruising guides, particularly the waterway guides and the map tech guides that we sell, are updated almost yearly. So you're pretty sure that the information you're reading is accurate. In terms of the electronic stuff, like I said, this boat's got a Garmin setup. That's pretty typical. Of course, with Garmin, you need to use the Garmin charts. You're kind of locked into that. Garmin's acquired Navionics, so our understanding now is that there's some Navionics data in there. But some other typical setups we see is a lot of people like to use their iPads or even a phone. And there's all sorts of apps you can get on there. This one, for instance, has Garmin Active Captain up that's really popular in the cruising community. It's kind of like the Waze traffic app or something. It allows the input from the user to say, hey, you know, this anchorage was really good, you can rate it, or the holding was really terrible. Kind of some good information from people that have been there recently. Another option, and we see this primarily on a lot of large yachts, is the Tech setup. And Tech's really powerful in that it allows you to run different types of charts. You can get the Navionics charts, you can get the CMAP charts, you can get the NOAA vector charts, and the NOAA raster charts if you want. And it really allows you to change between charts and kind of take the most conservative estimate. We certainly recommend that if you can afford it and if you can deal with it, take as much data as you can with you.
Right.
It's better to be over-prepared than under-prepared.
Well, we've already seen that on this trip where we've looked at, you know, as we're coming into tight areas, where we've looked at multiple points of data to help us kind of navigate along with the visual reference that you see. So I'm a big data guy, so I agree. The more backup that you have to that and the more eyes looking, the better it is from a safe navigation standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the name of the game. Is we want boats to get around safely. We want them to not run aground, and to have a good day on the water. And again, as much data as you can, we recommend you take it with you. We've got all the options, and we're happy to talk to you individually if you guys have questions. Let us know if you guys, you know, in the comments below, what kind of setup you guys have on the bridge, what you like to use for charts, and we're always interested to hear feedback from, you know, real mariners using this stuff every day.
Thanks for tuning in today, folks. We appreciate you watching our videos. If you like our content, we'd be happy if you hit the subscribe button. If you have any suggestions, questions, anything you want to know, maybe a video topic, let us know in the comments below, and we'll be happy to answer and help you out in any way we can.